Israeli threat of a Rafah incursion, which seems to be inching towards becoming a reality. Israel has asked people from Eastern Rafah to evacuate, but the question the Gazans are asking is, where should we go?
We fled death and destruction, and we came to Rafah only to find destruction here. Do they want to kill us here? We came seeking safety in Rafah. Where do they want to send us? Where are we to go? The situation is so difficult we are unable to describe the destruction that we are living in here. Someone feel for us and the tragedy we are living through.
Israel's call for Rafah's evacuation comes amidst media reports that the United States stopped the delivery of a shipment of U.S.-made ammunition to Israel last week. Israel has, however, said that the deliveries are continuing as normal. The White House has declined to comment on the matter, but the Biden administration has repeatedly warned Benjamin Netanyahu against the planned Rafah invasion. Gazans who have settled in Rafah after multiple rounds of evacuation from the north to the south of Gaza are now being told to move to these zones that are located 20 kilometers away from Rafah. Israel says the evacuation is focused on the peripheral districts of Rafah, and people will be shifted to tent cities in nearby Khan Younis and Al-Mawasi. Soon after the message was conveyed to Gazans, the scenes witnessed in the Palestinian enclave a few months ago were repeated once again. Gazans were piling children and possessions onto donkey carts for relocation. Others were seen moving on foot amid heavy rainfall. Contrary to Israel's claims, witnesses said that there's no place to add more tents in nearby areas. Take a listen.
الاحتلال الإسرائيلي أخبر الناس أنها تذهب إلى رفح وأنها منطقة آمنة، واليوم يقول لك اطلع من رفح. طب وين تروح الناس؟ أين ستذهب كل هذه الجموع؟ 1.5 مليون أو 2 مليون بني آدم، وين بدهم يروحوا؟ إلى أين سيذهبون يعني؟ إيش يروحوا على البحر يعني؟
A senior Hamas official has called the evacuation order a dangerous escalation that will have serious consequences. UN Palestinian Relief Agency said the operation will only cause more suffering and deaths for Gazans. But Israel is firm on its stance. Foreign Minister Israel Katz says, quote, "Our war is continuing with the exact same goals, releasing hostages and the defeat of Hamas." Gaza's neighbor Egypt is trying to contain the recent escalation in tensions between Israel and Hamas. Truce talks have reportedly hit a pause after Hamas attacked the Kerem Shalom crossing, killing 4 Israeli soldiers. Meanwhile, explosions were heard in East Rafah. In an overnight aerial attack, Israeli planes hit 10 houses. At least 20 people were killed and several were wounded. Over 29 have been killed in the last 24 hours, bringing the death toll to over 34,600 in Gaza, this according to Hamas. World Food Program Executive Director Cindy McCain has warned of a full-blown famine in the north that is moving towards the south. Okay, for more on this, we are now being joined by Adrian Calamel, fellow at the Arabian Peninsula Institute and a terrorism and Middle Eastern scholar. Adrian is joining us live from New York. Adrian, welcome back to WION, and thank you so much for joining us on this edition. So, Israel is seemingly gearing up for this Rafah assault. The Biden administration tried hard to dissuade Prime Minister Netanyahu, according to reports that we're hearing. But is that working?
Susan, thank you for having me back. It's great being back on the show. Great question. Is it working? It's not going to work at the end of the day. We know Biden administration was very clear after October 7th and a few months after that Hamas needs to be eliminated. And why Rafah has become front and center is because right around April 1st, the IDF had the last 4 battalions, I believe, of Hamas pinned down in Rafah. Now, a month has gone by, and I don't know if they're all still there, but it has become the belief is that a majority of the Hamas fighters are there. But we also have the problem that has been plaguing the IDF throughout this, and that is Hamas uses human shields, and they will continue to use human shields and use the Palestinian people. So that's kind of where we are. And action needs to be taken to eliminate Hamas. But the Biden administration is, through leaks, through endless ceasefire negotiations, been putting pressure on Israel over time not to take this step.
And Adrian, what implication could the reported hold on U.S. ammunition shipments to Israel have on the dynamics of the Israel-Hamas war? And how much of Biden's policies towards Israel is for a domestic audience?
Steve, that's the problem. Great question, Susan. That's the problem. A lot of this is for a domestic audience, and for specifically two voting bases in Michigan and Minnesota. If you want to look at it really cynically. It's too early to tell if this specific issue is going to drive a wedge and make a serious impact with the American populace, if they'll see this as just another bad policy, bad messaging, bad precedents by this administration during the whole prosecution of this war. Americans, if you look at the college campuses, we've seen the scenes play out at Columbia. We've also seen counter-protests play out at schools such as Alabama, University of Texas, Ole Miss, LSU. There are, if Biden administration thinks that allowing this type of lawless activity that is supporting basically Hamas, if you look at this, if supporting Hamas on a college campus and it's a vocal minority is going to help him, it's actually backfiring. It is mobilizing people against him and against these policies. So he's playing a very dangerous game just for a couple voting districts.
So well said. Dangerous indeed. And there was someone that said, that more Americans everywhere else will be voting in 2024 other than Michigan. We'll be watching closely. And Adrian, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for that thorough analysis.
Thank you again, Susan.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.